My name is H John Mejia. I'm an American entrepreneur and business consultant. I've been very fortunate to be involved in the TV and media world, and over the years, I have met, worked with, and interviewed hundreds of people. From billionaire business moguls to top political figures to movie stars, celebrities, and superstar athletes. Yeah, those who are on top of their game. I've always had a passion for meeting people and learning about their story and life journey to get deeper insight about who they are and what they did to achieve their success. That's why I was inspired to create this show, to feature top entrepreneurs and business people, to share with you their stories so we could all learn from. So get ready to enter the zone with the Business Zone TV show, right here, right now. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Business Zone TV show, the show that brings you in-depth interviews with top entrepreneurs and business leaders. I'm your host, H John Mejia, and in this episode, we check in on a young, dynamic entrepreneur and his story towards a multi-million-dollar business. Let's check it out. Today, we're in Ybor City, Tampa at College Hunks Hauling Junk and Moving Company, visiting with co-founder and president, Nick Friedman. Let's check it out. Talk about an American success story and someone living the dream. Nick Friedman's path to multi-million-dollar success centers around junk removal. That's right, over 12 years ago, he co-founded College Hunks Hauling Junk and Moving Company and has grown that company into a dominant national franchise with over 100 franchisees across the country and are headquartered in beautiful Tampa, Florida. Nick's resume of accomplishments is a long one. He has been named among the top 30 entrepreneurs in America under 30 by Inc. magazine, a two-time Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year award finalist, and he's also been named one of the top 35 entrepreneurs under 35. He has appeared on The Oprah Winfrey Show, ABC's Shark Tank, Bravo's Millionaire Matchmaker, The Pitch, and on CNBC's Blue Collar Millionaires, among many others. Nick, along with his business partner Omar Solomon, wrote the best-selling book, Effortless Entrepreneur. Work smart, play hard, make millions. They have been featured on the Wall Street Journal, Fast Company Magazine, USA Today, Entrepreneur Magazine, CNN, and Newsweek, among others. And guess what? On top of that, Nick is a dynamic speaker and shares his knowledge at business conferences across the country. They were featured in a Newsweek article, College Kid to Millionaire, which also included the founders of Facebook, FedEx, Dell Computers, Google, and Microsoft. This success story all started back in the spring of 2004 as Nick and Omar entered a business plan competition with a concept centered around junk removal. While other junk services had poor appearances and were local, they had a vision of a fully branded, clean appearance and a scalable national franchise. Guess what? They won the competition and the $10,000 prize, and their American business dream started to become a reality. I first interviewed Nick back in 2010, and I was so happy to catch up with him again. And man, they've accomplished so much in building this multi-million-dollar national business. And guess what? Nick even has bigger plans for the future. Hey Nick, thanks so much for having us here at your office. The energy here is absolutely electric. We have a lot to talk about, so let's get started. Let's go back in time, 2004, that business plan concept. Tell us about the business plan and why was it geared towards hauling junk removal business?
So we were actually going into our senior year of college. We were home in Washington, D.C., which is where we were originally from. My buddy and I from high school, Omar Solomon and I, we were home for summer vacation just trying to figure out what we were going to do. And his mom had this beat up cargo van from her furniture store. So she said, listen guys, you're not going to just sit around the pool all summer, go out and do something with this cargo van. So we were sitting around the table trying to think about what is it that we could do, and we didn't have a lot of technical skills, so we said, why don't we haul people's junk away and charge them a fee for it?
Whose idea was it, yours or Omar's?
Honestly, I think it was Omar's idea initially, and then his mom actually threw out the name College Hunks Will Haul Your Junk, and we all kind of busted out laughing. And then we kind of looked at each other, we're like, well, that's actually got a kind of catchy ring to it. So we shortened it to College Hunks Hauling Junk, put it on computer printout flyers, and just started sticking it around the mailboxes in neighborhoods. People had the need for the service, they thought the name was catchy, and so that was really the light bulb for us was, wow, this could be an actual opportunity here.
Well, talk about the brand, College, your trucks, your logo, your colors, your brand, your identity. That's been a big part of your success, or a part of your success. Talk about that, and was there any kind of wavering moments of moving away from the brand and changing it?
So our brand has really been a key piece of our growth over the years, and it's what I like to call, refer to a book that was really influential to us called The Purple Cow. The idea is if you're driving down a country road and you see a big field of brown cows, you're just going to keep driving because you've seen it before, but if there's a purple cow, it stands out because it's different, it's unique, it's remarkable. So the name, is kind of a pattern interrupt. It makes people think, well, that's not really what I would typically associate with a junk hauling or moving company. The colors are bright orange and green. You can't miss the trucks wherever they drive by. And then to make sure that we back it up is we try to provide a memorable and positive experience and service for the customer. So it's not just about the sizzle of the name and the colors, but the actual service experiences as well. And yeah, there was a time over the years, where we started to question, is it too quirky or is it too gimmicky? Do we need to kind of go with something a little bit more mainstream? And people would ask us questions like, hey, are they all really hunks? Are they all really in college? And you kind of, get a little bit tired of answering those questions. So that's why we would start to question it. But ultimately we realized that, the brand is what really sets us apart from the other companies. We actually came up with an acronym for Hunks. We say it stands for honest, uniformed, nice, knowledgeable service. So it's more than just, physical looks or brawn. It's about, the overall service experience that our guys are providing when they go out to haul people's stuff away or move people's furniture. And that really has been the key to our success over the years.
I remember watching a show a few years ago, actually. You guys have been obviously noticed on many different shows. There was one show that was when you guys were expanding into the moving, complementing your hauling junk business. And I think the agency was recommending a different name, a different company. They were pitching you on that. But how did you guys stay true to adding just the moving, which I think is brilliant? But talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we actually appeared on a show called The Pitch. It was on AMC, and it was featuring companies that were looking for marketing or branding advice. And at the time, we were adding moving services on top of our junk removal services. And there was some concern about whether the name College Hunks Hauling Junk would create some confusion or perhaps would be a turnoff for people when it comes to moving their personal belongings, because it's one thing to have your junk hauled away, it's another thing to have your stuff moved. And so we had the ad agencies make some recommendations, and a few of them recommended that we actually rebrand the moving side of the business. We considered it. Ultimately, we decided that it was a risk we weren't willing to take. We felt like there was already market adoption of the College Hunks brand, so we kind of just added "and moving" to our already long name, which again, isn't ideal, but it works. We have over now 100 franchises around the country. The customers still love our brand and our service. So any second thoughts that we've had, we sort of put those to rest. And now we said, we're just going to double down and focus in on College Hunks hauling junk and moving now.
Beautiful. I know, I love it. I saw that because I remember I was watching that show and I was like, and I watched maybe a year later, I saw, oh, they added on the moving aspect of it and maintained the brand integrity, which I think obviously is a great move. Talk about back in the day, out of college, you guys got good jobs. Both you and Omar, you got good paying jobs. You were consultants or in a business. And then all of a sudden, you didn't do the 10 years and get burnt out. You were like saying, hey, I gotta get out of here. Talk a little bit about that. And what was the motivation to get you guys to walk away from that? A lot of people didn't think that was a good idea back then. Talk about that.
Yeah, so when we first graduated from college, we actually got corporate jobs. Even though we had, hauled junk in a cargo van the summer before, we actually had won a business plan for College Hunks hauling junk during our senior year of college. But we were always brought up to follow the traditional career path. You get a degree, you get a job, you climb the corporate ladder. And so that's what we did. And about 6 months into it, I was just feeling really unfulfilled. I couldn't picture myself doing this for another 10, 20, 30 years of my life. So I emailed Omar and said, hey, what's our timeline for starting College Hunks on a full-time basis? And he emailed me back, all capital letters, my timeline's right now, exclamation point, let's do this. And so we quit our job.
Were you thinking now too, or were you thinking maybe 6 months from now when you?
I was just thinking, hey, are you up for this, challenge? Because I'm starting to feel kind of antsy behind this desk and in this cubicle. And our parents were skeptical, friends and family, we saw some raised eyebrows. People were saying, you're going to quit your jobs to do what? Haul junk? And the company's going to be called what? College Hunks? You're basically throwing away your degree to start a trash business is basically what they were telling us. But, we used that as motivation to kind of put a little bit of a chip on our shoulder. We wanted to prove everybody wrong. We wanted to create this national brand. And I remember when we first started, we were doing all the work of ourselves. We were answering the phone, we were driving the trucks, we were hauling the junk.
Let me get delivery. Nick, Nick, let me get sales. This is Nick in sales.
That's right. And actually, I always tell the story. We would be multitasking in the truck, maybe swerving, so people would call the 800 number to complain about the erratic driving, and I'd be the one in the driver's seat answering the phone saying, listen, we don't condone that type of driving in our company. We'll tell those guys to be safer back on the road. We apologize. So we probably fired ourselves 3 or 4 times that first summer before we realized that we needed to work on the business, not in it, if we were ever going to scale to the next level.
And scale they did, eventually outgrowing their space in Ybor City to one several times that size in their new Tampa headquarters. I had a chance to go over there with Nick and see the new location they were moving to, which was very impressive. especially when you consider their story on making their very first sale.
The lady shows us her old furniture that she needed to get rid of, some stuff in her backyard. We kind of threw out a price. We weren't quite sure what to charge. We said, $200, and she's like, okay, great, get started. So I guess we looked at each other like, okay, I guess this is gonna work. So we go outside in the backyard, we bend down to start picking up this pile of rubbish, and as soon as we bend down to pick it up, it was like, the skies opened up and it started pouring down rain on us. And we looked at each other like, whoa, are we really about to embark on this adventure? It was like this point of no return, so to speak. And I remember having that moment with Omar, my business partner, where we looked at each other and we said, okay, let's get it in the truck, let's go, it's our first job, let's get it done. And we haven't looked back since.
Now, obviously, that first sale was the start of something special. But like any business, there are money funding concerns. I asked Nick, how did he and Omar fund the cash to start and run their new business?
We really did bootstrap the business for the most part and grew it very organically. We didn't have a lot of access to capital. We didn't have a big lofty business plan to try to blow it out of the water from day one. So for us, it started with some computer printout flyers, some ads on the internet, and of course we needed the truck. So when we originally started, it was a beat up cargo van that we borrowed from my business partner's mom's furniture store. After that, we were able to get our first truck by having our parents help co-sign on a bank loan for our very first commercial dump truck. And from that point on, we were still living in our parents' basement, parking the trucks at their house, and eventually we kept reinvesting to the point where we could afford our own truck, get our own office, start hiring our own employees. So everything was really hand to mouth ever since day one. And over the years we've been able to access lines of credit and various working capital sources, but we never went out and raised a bunch of money, and never went out and got a big bank loan to start the business. It was all about getting the junk in the truck, turning that into some revenue, turning that into some profit, reinvesting it back into the business, and keep growing one step and one brick by brick from that point on.
Like every great company, there are times when the business will be challenged with tough times. Nick shared with me some of those war stories.
There were certainly some very tight financial times over the years. In particular, when we first moved our headquarters down here to Tampa and began franchising our business, we had this trajectory that we had in our minds that was going to be a very fast, rapid growth. But this was right at the same time that the bottom fell out of the real estate market, and we hit into the Great Recession that we all remember. And so all of a sudden, it wasn't as easy to make the phone ring. It wasn't as easy to sell a franchise. People that were accustomed to selling their homes for more than they bought them for were now getting foreclosed on, so they certainly couldn't afford to pay for getting rid of unwanted items or pay for a first-class move service. And so the business started to dry up a little bit. It felt like we were dragging an anchor through the sand, and certainly financially things got very tight where we couldn't pay ourselves, we couldn't pay our employees. We had to sort of rally everybody together. And I remember at that time I heard a quote that really motivated me, where said, when times are great, everybody succeeds. When times are tight, only the bold and those who persist and persevere are going to be the ones that succeed. And so, we use that as motivation to say, we're going to make it through these stormy weathers. If we can make it through these stormy weathers, we can make it through anything. And that really was the case. It helped actually make us better business people, because we had to start watching our bottom line. We had to start making very strategic decisions about, how we spent our money, how we allocated capital. We marketed a lot harder. We, networked a lot, more aggressively, and really just tried to, keep the business afloat. And that actually was what led us to expand our services from junk removal only to then moving services as well. So we actually, it was kind of a blessing in disguise, where we looked to expand our revenue pie from just one service to two, utilizing our trucks and our labor infrastructure. So, there were some scary moments, a lot of sleepless nights back then. I remember I'd wake up in, a cold sweat, thinking about how I was going to get through the next day, but we've made it through, and definitely was a great lesson for us.
Hey, don't go anywhere, because the Business Zone TV show will be right back, right after this quick commercial break.
Did you realize that the average person remembers only 20% from what they read and only retains 30% from what they hear? With videos, people are able to remember at an incredible 70% retention rate. And that's why successful companies use them to convert people into sales. YouTube has over 4 billion videos viewed a day and over 3 billion hours of videos watched each month. More videos are uploaded in 1 month than the 3 major TV networks created in 60 years. Over 80% of people watch videos every week, and that's why social media is unlocking opportunities. If you are not using videos to express your company's purpose and passion, you are going to be left behind. Since 2003, In the Zone TV has successfully produced countless videos for clients, TV projects, websites, YouTube channels, and social media. Our award-winning production team provides you cutting-edge strategies to drive your bottom-line results. With our wide variety of video marketing solutions, we can connect your message to the digital world and help you stand out and get noticed. Take advantage of our video solutions that includes newsmercials, profile videos, special events, TV coverage, commercials, testimonials, training videos, online interviews, and our turnkey branding solutions package. In the Zone TV will handle your projects from concept to completion. We tell your story to the world so you can stand out and dramatically grow your business. In the Zone TV, video production with marketing power.
Welcome back to the Business Zone TV show, which is sponsored by In the Zone TV. When you need video production with marketing power, be sure to check out their website at inthezonetv.com and by hjohnmejia.com. If you're looking to take your business to the next level with cutting-edge media, marketing, and sales strategies, be sure to check out hjohnmejia.com. That's hjohnmejia.com. Now, talk about the business plan. Was the vision that you laid out in that business plan, did it bring you up to where it is today? I mean, did it have that vision that the success that you guys have had? Was that in the business plan? Did you go all in when you put the business plan together, or this has far exceeded the initial vision of the business plan?
So our vision has always been very ambitious. Like, we always thought we were going to be a national brand. The details of a business plan are ever dynamic and evolving because you have to kind of adjust, and the way you lay it out at the beginning doesn't always unfold exactly in process. But to be honest with you, a lot of people ask, did you ever expect you'd be this, where you guys are today? And when we were younger, you had this sort of instant gratification expectation. We thought we were going to be, 100 franchises in our second year, and of course that's not the reality. No overnight success happens overnight. It takes years of hard work and persistence to make it happen, which is really what it's been, and bringing on great people to kind of help the vision come to reality. But the vision really of where we are today was part of the business plan originally, over 10 years ago.
It's manifested into reality. At some point during your success journey, you had a chance to go on a hit TV show called Shark Tank. And we're friends with local Kevin Harrington here, local here in the Tampa Bay area. How hard was that when they put the deal? I know there was another idea that you were pitching, but they were all intrigued with the college. They wanted to buy part of that deal with the deal, and you had to walk away from that. How hard was that, and talk about the conviction that you had to no, we're going to pass.
So yeah, we were actually on the very first episode of the very first season of Shark Tank. So we had never even seen the show when we went and appeared on it. We had just responded to an ad that said they were looking for entrepreneurs to pitch TV or to pitch business ideas for a TV show. And so at the time we were pitching a different concept that we thought might have an opportunity to grow. It was actually called College Foxes Packing Boxes. It never went anywhere. But the Sharks, they smelled blood in the water. They knew that they wanted the existing business that already had about a half dozen franchises or so. So they made us an offer, but they wanted equity in College Hunks. It was Robert Herjavec who made us the offer. And at the time we just weren't looking for investors. We weren't looking for partners. And even though it was more money than we had seen at the time, we were willing to just kind of forego that investment and focus on building the business organically, which is what we've done.
Were you strong when the offer came? When you guys went back and huddled up, were you strong in that offer? Or were you?
I think we wavered a little bit. I mean, anybody would in that early stage of a business. Things are delicate. You can use the money, you can use the advice, but we just felt like we were going to be giving up a little bit too much too early, and we needed to just stay focused. And in hindsight, we're happy that we made that decision. I'm sure the partnership could have helped. The money we might have wasted trying to chase that other business idea, but ultimately, things have worked out. So
I think they've worked out pretty good for you. Talk about why franchise model versus corporate-owned stores. What was the vision behind that?
So one of the books one of our mentors recommended to us originally was called The E-Myth Revisited by a guy named Michael Gerber. And in that book, it talks about this franchise revolution. And he basically tells small business owners to create systems and processes in your business to make it franchisable, even if you're not going to franchise it. But that at least planted in our minds this whole notion of franchising. So we started to do a little bit more research about it, learn about the International Franchise Association, why people franchise their businesses. And the most reason that somebody would want to franchise their small business is because they would want to expand it rapidly into other markets, and they don't have the capital or the people or the resources to go open up those locations individually themselves. And we lacked all three of those things. We didn't have a lot of capital, a lot of management staff, or a lot of resources to go out and open up separate locations, but we had this vision of being a national brand with our trucks and our colors in all these different markets. So franchising was the natural expansion strategy for us to do that, which we started doing, I think, right around 2008, 2009 when we moved down here to Tampa, Florida, and now we've got over 100 franchises. So it's been a process, but really just these past couple years when we hit that breakthrough growth.
You have a culture here that's unique. We'll talk about that here in a second, but how do you duplicate that energy, having national franchisees all across the country? How do you duplicate the energy, the integrity, the brand, the execution? How do you manage all that? How do you vet people that you're hiring the right player to join your team? Because it does take a special person to be part of this team, doesn't it?
Yeah, so the unique thing about franchising is a franchisee is almost like an employee who you can't fire because they are independent business owners. So they're not really employees because you can't manage them. They're more like business partners. And so you're absolutely right. You need that partnership to have an alignment of core values, an alignment of vision, an alignment of purpose. And so we have a set of 4 core values in our organization that we emphasize very heavily from day one, even before somebody becomes a franchise owner. We make it part of the interview process. We have a company purpose that we say is to move the world, meaning making a positive impact, not just moving people's stuff literally. And while that stuff may sound kind of warm and fuzzy to an outsider, we take it very seriously in our organization, and we use it as a litmus test as to who we bring into the organization, both as an employee or as a franchise partner, to carry the brand into a market outside of Tampa. And so, yes, we have a legal contract that they have to abide by, but it's really more important that they are aligned with our core values, with our company purpose, and with our vision to represent this brand and this organization, and then make sure the people that they hire represent the brand and the organization. So it just really gets down to setting the expectations from the very beginning in the pre-franchising process, all through training, and then emphasizing it and rewarding and recognizing it. We have rewards that we give out at our franchise conference for people that go above and beyond and living some of the core values that we have in our organization. And that's really been the key to the brand consistency, the culture consistency, and the enthusiasm that you mentioned, when you go into other markets around the country.
You guys have made that, you've duplicated that all across the country, and kudos to you on that. Silly question, but do a lot of the talent pool that they're drawing from, are they guys in college? Or is that just the brand name? Talk a little bit about that.
Sure.
Does somebody have to be in college, or what if they're out of college or they're not working and they wanted to go work with one of the franchisees or here at the corporate office?
So we don't exclusively hire college students. I would say the majority of our frontline labor pool, the guys that are doing the heavy lifting, the moving, the hauling, are in school, maybe recently graduated or taking a semester off. I think by virtue of our name, the sort of applicant pool kind of self-selects itself. But it's not exclusive. We have a lot of men and women that work in the organization, both at the management level and the sales center that we have here in Tampa, that are long past college, that maybe consider themselves the professors or the coaches that are helping to pass knowledge down to the college students that we are hiring. So there is still a significant college presence in our organization. But of course, being that we started in college, it's always going to have that sort of entrepreneurial, college dorm room spirit, within it.
Well, let's talk about the headquarters here, because that energy, there's a lot of excitement here. Let's talk about, these are your headquarters here. What is going on out here? We've been able to walk around, take some nice shots, people on phones, computers. This is like, it seems like the heartbeat that's going on here. Talk a little bit about what's happening here.
Yes, so we're currently in about a 10,000 square foot space in Ybor City that we've been in for about the past 5 years, and we're actually getting ready to transition to a space that's almost triple this size over near Raymond James Stadium. And it's just awesome because this is, you described it as the heart and soul. We actually have a room at our new building which is dedicated to the call center that we call the heart and soul of the building, and then we've got the left brain and right brain at our new building as well, which involves the marketing team and then the legal and accounting team. But here is where we provide all the back office support for our franchise owners around the country. So any call that comes in off of our 800 number, any lead that comes in off of our website, it gets fielded here at our sales and loyalty center is what we call it. these agents will pull up the franchisee location, schedule the appointment, whether it's a moving or junk hauling service or just a customer service inquiry. And then the franchisee in the field, all they have to do is hire the guys to go out and do the heavy lifting and then make sure they're out building, goodwill and relationships in the community that they service. So we provide the call center services, we provide all the marketing and operational support and training for the franchise owners. We provide some back office accounting services for the franchise owners as an option as well. So this is really sort of like the home office, if you will. We call it brand central of College Hunks Hauling, Junk, and Moving. And you're right, the energy is contagious when you walk in the building. We've got the bright orange and green colors. We've got a lot of contests going on in the sales center, so that gets people pumped up. A lot of caffeine flowing, so it's really a great place to be.
I'm sorry, man. I wore brown and blue today. I'm like, oh, what the hell did I do today? I should have came with my green and orange, right? This new space is something to behold, with all the amenities you'd expect in a Silicon Valley startup, which keeps the energy high and creates an overall positive work environment.
That's what we've tried to create here: a fun, vibrant, enthusiastic, energetic place where team members can learn and grow and support each other and collaborate and really continue to propel the company forward. I mean, it was founded when we were in college. College is one of those fun, exciting, enthusiastic times in people's lives, and we wanted to be able to create that environment even 10 years later and beyond for all the people that come in contact with the organization.
Hey, don't go anywhere, because the Business Zone TV show will be right back, right after this quick commercial break. In the Zone TV has the experience to handle your project from concept to completion and deliver compelling video communication that grabs audiences' attention.
Together, we can create a visual message that can dramatically improve your bottom line.
In the Zone TV, video production with marketing power. Welcome back to the Business Zone TV show, which is sponsored by In the Zone TV. When you need video production with marketing power, be sure to check out their website at inthezonetv.com and by hjohnmejia.com. If you're looking to take your business to the next level with cutting-edge media, marketing, and sales strategies, be sure to check out hjohnmejia.com. That's hjohnmejia.com. Talk about the 11-11. There was a huddle meeting. What was that meeting all about? Is that something you do every day? What's going on there today?
Yes, so we do a stand-up meeting, 11-11, every single day. It's usually a 5 to 10 minute high energy meeting where everybody who's not on the phones comes out and participates. And really it's an opportunity to get people out from behind their desks late morning, early afternoon, get people out from behind their silos, if you will. And we do just a quick review. What's some good news from the day before? We do a core value review story. We look at some of the key metrics from the day before. We have a different business area or department give an update each different day of the week. And then we give an opportunity for announcements. And then at the end, we share Move the World stories, which is sort of like the wow stories or customer service testimonials. So again, it's a great way for people to just kind of touch base, have a lot of high energy, stand up, and then go back to doing what they were doing. So we do that every single day. 11 o'clock hits, that's kind of when their alarm goes off to get them sort of mentally prepared. Then 11-11 is when we hold the meeting. And
why 11? Why not 11-10? Why 11-11?
11-11, as a kid, I always was sort of superstitious about that time, that it was sort of a good luck time. If you see 11-11 on the clock, you make a wish. And so when we were picking out when we were going to do our daily huddle, we picked that time. I also thought it's great because it's late in the morning, gives people time when the 11 o'clock hits, they can get ready for that meeting. So that's really nothing more to it than I thought it was kind of easy to remember, and it's a good luck time.
Let's talk about your partnership. You have a co-founder, you have Omar. Have you guys ever not seen eye to eye during the course of this relationship? I mean, it's kind of like a marriage, the two of you guys together, building this beautiful success story. How's that partnership been? And then when you guys don't see eye to eye, how does that play out? Do you get a referee, or how does it work out?
Yeah, so Omar and I met in 10th grade. We were best friends in high school, and we've been business partners for over a decade. So we've known each other over 20 years. And we actually, our wives tell us that Omar and I sometimes bicker like an old married couple because, we don't always see eye to eye on all the specific details. But what I will say has been the key to our successful partnership is that our long-term vision and our core values have always been in alignment, and we do communicate. Not always, cordially. We might yell at each other, but I think the fact that we are such good friends, we trust each other wholeheartedly, and we are able to, express ourselves and not worry about hurt feelings or not worry about stepping on each other's toes. So usually if our disagreements come about, it's something really minor. It's not a long-term destination. It's not like he thinks we should have 200 franchises and I think we should have 2,000. Normally our vision and our values are right in perfect alignment. It's more like, hey, do you like this ad copy? Do you like this branding decision? Should we hire this person? Should we fire this person? We may not see always eye to eye on those types of decisions day to day, but we collectively discuss and we might argue, and then ultimately we make a decision. And sometimes we may involve some of our team members in the organization to kind of help play tiebreaker or referee to give us,
who's the better salespeople? Right. Who's the better salesperson?
Yeah, exactly. But both Omar and I operate very emotionally as leaders, and so we have some very logical individuals in our organization that are able to make decisions based on the numbers and based on the facts. And so Omar and I may have some sort of harebrained idea about ways certain things should get done. But then we rely on our team members to help kind of clear the waters for us and show us that the decision really needs to be made based on the numbers or based on the facts.
Well, let me clarify. So do you say both your talents are pretty much aligned together? They're not like opposite of each other? Or are they pretty much very similar?
I would say we're both similar in that we're both emotional decision makers, but we're different in that Omar's a little bit more go with the flow. He thinks things will just sort of sort themselves out. I'm a little bit more OCD, obsessive compulsive. So I need to obsess over every single decision, whereas Omar just expects that the decisions are going to make themselves fall into place. So we complement each other in that respect. I always like to say there was that old commercial where there was the two individuals and one guy in the suit is like, I'm the PC, and the other guy in like the jeans and t-shirts like, I'm the Apple. I would say I'm a little bit more of the PC. Omar's a little bit more of the Apple. He was the first guy to go out and get an iPhone. I was the last guy to get rid of my BlackBerry. So in that regard, we do complement each other quite well.
Cool. Was there ever a time where you, at any point in time, maybe for a moment, you said, you know what, let's wrap it up. I'm just not going to go forward. I'm going to buy me out. Has it ever happened in the tenure? No,
it's never happened in our tenure that we ever considered parting ways or splitting up. And we've always been in this together, and it's been a lot of fun. To be in business with somebody who's your friend from childhood. A lot of people may get into business with a family member or friend, and it doesn't work out well. But for us, we've been very fortunate for that fact.
Let's talk about social media, the digital media world. The game has changed in the last few years. How has that impacted your business? And how are you guys reacting to this new social media world?
When we first started the business, Facebook was just starting out at Harvard, I think. So, social media didn't even really exist when we first started. We relied so much more on traditional media, guerrilla advertising, or word of mouth. Now with social media, the game has really kind of been flipped upside down, because it used to be that an unhappy customer would tell 10 people and a happy customer might tell one. And so for every unhappy customer, you had to have 10 happy ones just to break even. Well, now with social media, an unhappy customer can tell thousands of people on their social media. They can go on Google, Angie's List, Yelp, and same thing with a happy customer, but usually the unhappy ones are more likely to go online and write a review. So you really got to raise your level of service to deliver and exceed customer expectations. That's number one. Number two, it creates an engagement opportunity with the customer, because you can, provide a service and maybe do a photo or connect with a customer, back on Facebook and share future content. So it creates more of a relationship with the brands that the customers interact with. And so those have been some of the ways that we've been trying to leverage social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We use LinkedIn for recruiting, which is something that we, didn't have when we first got started. So it really just makes, I think, connection that much more integrated at every layer, and it raises the stakes for brands, in particular service brands, to be able to deliver on those client expectations.
Critical. If you had a mulligan or a free shot to do something over the last 12, 13 years in this part of this journey, would there be anything you would say, hey, if I had a chance to do a do-over, to replay something or do something differently, what would that be?
I've been asked the question about would I do anything differently, and I always struggle to come up with an answer, and I think the reason is because I'm a firm believer in sort of like that butterfly effect element, and if you change one thing in history, it could change the whole course of the future path. And we're very grateful for where we are today as an organization. And so if we went back and changed something, even if it was maybe something that we might consider to be a mistake that we made, who knows? Maybe we wouldn't be where we are today, or we'd be have made a left turn instead of a right, and that would have taken our business way off course. The only thing that I have come up with when that answer comes up from time to time is very early on in our business. When we started franchising, we got got connected to or tied into a technology platform for service franchises, and it was very hard to get out of that platform, and it was kind of antiquated off-the-shelf software, and as our business grew, we outgrew that very quickly, and we weren't able to sort of, allow the technology to scale with us because we were locked into it. So, in hindsight, it would have been nice to have something a little bit more dynamic or something we could have created on our own. But, maybe the fact that we had that experience, now that we do have our own our own in-house developed software, it gave us the motivation and the confidence to be able to develop that on our own years later. So, but that's the only thing that I can think of.
Gotcha. But the cards have worked out really well for you.
Exactly.
Let's look at 10, 15, 20 years from now. Let's say we're back almost like a startup again. What is the vision for the future? What do you guys are both young, and what do you guys see down the line? What's the vision there?
So, for us right now, we have about 100 franchises, and our vision for College Hunks is to get to between 150 and 200 franchises in, say, the next 3 years. And at that point, I think we will be, essentially covered in all the majority of the markets where, say for a small handful of where this service can exist. Then it's just going to be focusing on optimizing the potential of each local franchisee. So continue to maximize local moving and junk removal, but perhaps diversifying with long distance moving and storage. We think those are sort of the next brand extensions that our franchises can offer. We also have started a parent company that we're calling Heroic Brands, which will potentially be able to acquire or invest in other service type concepts to then leverage the infrastructure we have, our call center, our marketing support, our in-house finance as a shared services model. And so the goal is to get College Hunks to be as mature and reach its full potential, and at that point be able to weave in or integrate with other types of businesses that would complement the moving and hauling business.
Well, you got a game plan going, so you got a lot of work ahead of you. It sounds like some exciting things are coming down the pipe. Hey, don't go anywhere, because the Business Zone TV show will be right back, right after this quick commercial break.
Known as one of the country's top sales and marketing experts, entrepreneur, speaker, and TV personality, H John Mejia is the driving force behind In the Zone TV, Capital Marketing Concepts, and the Good Life Tampa Bay TV show. Headquartered in beautiful downtown St. Petersburg, Florida, H's sales, marketing, TV, and entrepreneurial expertise comes from more than 20 years of learning, applying, and honing cutting-edge strategies that produce high-impact results. During his career, he has helped companies generate over $1 billion in new and incremental sales revenue. An overachiever all his life, H always brings his A game of ideas, products, and passion to help clients break through to get their sales to the next level. Isn't it time for you to team up with H John Mejia and allow him to help you produce the results you are looking for? Call now for a free consultation and let H show you how his proven and guaranteed strategies can help you increase sales to the next level.
Welcome back to the Business Zone TV show, which is sponsored by In the Zone TV. When you need video production with marketing power, be sure to check out their website at inthezonetv.com and by hjohnmejia.com. If you're looking to take your business to the next level with cutting-edge media, marketing, and sales strategies, be sure to check out hjohnmejia.com. That's hjohnmejia.com. Let's go back in time. Talk about Nick the kid. Growing up, where did you grow up? What market? What state? And talk about your family and paint the picture for me. Give me the environment. And where did that entrepreneurial blood come from?
Sure. So I grew up in Washington, D.C. My dad was an eye doctor, just had a small private practice. My mom was a school teacher. She, helped take care of myself and my older sister when we were growing up. I would describe it as a pretty normal childhood, but, I did get into a lot of trouble growing up. I was always the student that the teachers had to, go sit in the corner because I was disrupting the other kids around the circle, or I wouldn't sit still or be quiet when the teacher needed all of the class to pay attention, or I wouldn't wait in line when it was time to wait in line to go to the next class. I remember in 3rd or 4th grade, my teachers actually had me carry around a behavior folder to have them sign at each different class to confirm whether or not I was sitting still. Now, I don't know if that restless energy is what, has translated into my entrepreneurial success. But I do think, the fact that I didn't want to just sort of follow that traditional path may have something with some of my entrepreneurial motivations. While my parents weren't directly entrepreneurial, I've heard stories about my dad's grandfather who emigrated here and was very entrepreneurial. Started out as kind of a door-to-door salesperson, selling crafts, and then ultimately invested in some real estate and some retail stores. And so I never met the guy, but my family tells me that maybe I've inherited some of his entrepreneurial genes, if you will. But I didn't even know what an entrepreneur was until we started the business, and people would say, "Oh, so you're an entrepreneur," and I'd say, "Well, I guess that's what that word means." So I was never actually exposed to the concept. I kind of wish I had been. Now I think schools and colleges are embracing the entrepreneurial mindset a lot more, and some of the education that comes along with it. But really, as I reflect back on my childhood, I think I was just kind of a rambunctious kid. I meant well. It was never anything ill will, but I did get into a lot of trouble in class.
Well, that sounds like from your grandfather, the entrepreneurial gene too flowed through down to you as well. Sports played a role in your back. You played. I think you played basketball
Yes.
in college. Talk a little bit about that. Was that part of the spirit of who you are?
Yeah, sports has played a major role in developing me, and it was a very big part of my youth. I played basketball. I was obsessed with basketball, and I had hoop dreams. I wasn't a naturally gifted athlete, but I was so obsessed with basketball, I literally played it every single day because I wanted to play in college and maybe potentially play professionally. I never realized my dream to play professionally, but I did get a chance to go play in college, and that experience I think helped mold me in a number of ways. A, it helped drive my competitive juices, my desire to win. B, it helped foster that level of teamwork and camaraderie and that ability to work together with others for a common goal. And then C, I think it helped develop my level of persistence and dedication and work ethic because I wasn't naturally gifted as an athlete. I worked so hard to try to get as far as I could, and I've been able to attach that obsession that I had with basketball to my obsession now with my business over the years. And that hard work and determination and perseverance, I think you can't replace that when it comes to being an entrepreneur. You need that if you're going to propel your business forward and persevere when things get difficult and have patience if things aren't materializing right away.
Who are some of your idols, the ones that you looked up to as you're growing up with sports?
So my biggest idol growing up actually was Charles Barkley, and fortunately,
Sir Charles.
Fortunately, I still get to watch him on television because he's a great TV personality now on some of the basketball talk shows. But I liked him because he was, he kind of had an attitude, a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He didn't, like to color within the lines. He liked to kind of do things by the beat of his own drum. He was a little bit of a bad boy, and so I identified with that when I was growing up and watching him play.
Incredible. And I could see the spirit too in the huddle as you guys wrap up, hands up, and you're doing a kind of an out as wrapping things up. I mean, I was waiting for Ray Lewis to pop out of the huddle.
Yeah, well, because I didn't get to play professional basketball, I wanted to carry some of the, joyous moments and experiences that I had, playing organized sports into the business because, work should be fun. Work should be play. If we're going to spend all of our time doing it, why not make it an environment that people enjoy being a part of and kind of get motivated and have fun doing? So we've been able to weave some of those sports elements and themes into our business, which I think has also helped our business move forward and has been a more engaging environment for the people we hire.
Well, you definitely created that type of a culture. As you reflect, we're surrounded by all the accolades, all the success, thousands of media outlets have covered your journey. Do you feel like you're a success? I mean, how do you see this journey? When you look back, you say, oh man, I've made it? Or do you have hey, I haven't made it yet? What's your mindset? Give me a little insight to that.
I think entrepreneurs kind of suffer from a double-edged sword curse. In other words, you never feel like you completely accomplished enough. You always want more or need more or want to accomplish more, which is a good thing because it keeps you moving forward, it keeps you growing. And they say if you're not growing, you're dying. It's a bad thing because you have to remind yourself constantly to be grateful and appreciate what you've been able to accomplish and the people who have helped you get there. Because if you're always looking up and looking ahead, you forget about how far you've come, you forget about how great it is, where you are, and you're always just trying to chase the next level. And at some point, you're going to look around and be 70 years old and be like, what happened to my life? So I'm reminded of that quite often. My wife reminds me of that quite often, and I'm humbled quite often about how far we've been able to reach our, as an organization. And I heard a quote not too long ago, I forget who it was, but he said, you'll never be a success unless you recognize the fact that you already are. And so if you appreciate the success you've already had, then everything else is icing on top, icing on the cake. And we all love more icing, that's great, but recognize and appreciate and be grateful for this success you've been able to achieve. So yes, I would say I do consider, myself and our team to be successful, and now we just want to see, how much more successful we can be.
Awesome. Well stated. I truly believe in what you just said. That's awesome. And you mentioned family. Because now, during your journey, because I remember interviewing you many years ago and also seeing you on TV, Millionaire Matchmaker, and then all of a sudden, a few years later, you're getting a house with your wife on HGTV. I said, wow, look at this contrast going on.
Yeah.
So talk about the family. Congratulations, you have a child, and you also have good news, a baby on the way. So
yes.
How has that changed the game for you, mindset? And how do you manage that with this schedule? Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so got married a couple years ago. We have a beautiful 2-year-old daughter, and we have a child on the way. We're going to find out in August whether it's a boy or girl. We're going full surprise on this one. It definitely was a transition for me because prior to marriage, I was so solely focused on the business. And I was a bachelor, so I could kind of do things when I wanted, how I wanted, where I wanted. I make my own decisions and not really have to answer to anybody. And the only thing that really vied for my attention was the business, and I was happy to do that because I was so passionate about it. But then when you have a family, you have to start dividing your time and dividing your energies a little bit, and recognizing what's important and where the priorities should lie. So that was certainly an adjustment.
How do you manage that time? How do you do it? Because as entrepreneurs, we all can get caught in the trap, the business, the cell phone. How do you manage that?
So I would say it's a combination of discipline and then my wife reminding me to manage it as well.
I heard that. Okay.
So I try to stay focused on the business. During normal business hours, I try to put my phone away when I'm home. I try to be present, mentally, not just physically when I'm at home with the kids, with the family. And I think that is really important because, you can burn yourself out if all your focus is on one single thing. And it is very difficult, to achieve sort of this work-life balance, but so you have to, constantly discipline yourself to do that. And, there's, I think, 4 or 5 F's that I've, kind of defined that help people, create balance in their lives. There's family, there's financial, which, in my case is the business. There's fitness, which is kind of your personal health and well-being. And there's faith, which might be your spirituality or your religion, whatever that may be. And then there's the fun factor, whether that's, could be included in any of those first 4s, or might be, fishing or, basketball or, recreation with your friends or what have you. And so, those F's, I think, are very difficult to balance because we only have 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week. And if you're spending all your time on one of them, the rest are getting neglected. So for me, it's scheduling out, it's making, a concerted mental effort to concentrate and focus on, whichever F I need to dedicate the time to at that moment.
And get that mindset.
Exactly.
And a great motivator. Our wives can be great motivators sometimes.
Yes, yeah. My wife, she sees the big picture. She sees what's important. She reminds me constantly about the importance of family and our kids, and I'm grateful for that because if I didn't have that, I would be very solely focused on the business and would be, not have the full, arc of the life experiences that I'm grateful to have.
That's awesome. Talk about typical routine, typical day. What time do you get up? What's your routine? Do you have rituals? Do you, what do you do standard? What time do you work till? Kind of give me a little bit of inside 24 hours with Nick.
So recently what I've been starting to do is starting my morning with a 15 to 20 minute meditation. And that just kind of, before that—
What time do you get up?
I get up about 7 a.m.
7 a.m.
Yeah, okay. So not too early, not too late. My daughter gets up about 7, so that's about what time I'm getting up. I do my 15, 20 minute meditation. I do a quick little exercise just to get my blood flowing, might take a cold shower. And then I do a little bit of, 5-minute journaling where I'll write down, an intention for the day, a few things that I'm grateful for that day, and some affirmations. And that just kind of, level sets my mind for the day. Because as a business owner, as a family man, you got so many, issues and forces running through your head every day, and you can be kind of crazy and high anxiety if you don't sort of like ease into the day. So that's kind of how I ease into my day. Get to the office by 9, 10 o'clock at the latest, checking in with my team, checking in with my emails. And usually I try to wrap up and get home by 6, 7 o'clock at night. That's Monday through Friday. travel a lot for work as well, for conferences.
How often do you
meetings.
travel? How does that work?
I would say about once or twice a month I'm on the road, flying to another city to visit with one of our franchise locations, or perhaps attending a trade show or a conference. I'm never not working, because nowadays with your mobile phone, you could be plugged in at any time of day. It's really in the evenings that I'm trying to unplug and connect primarily with the family side of things.
Gotcha. And why Tampa Bay? I mean, you're a DC. I'm originally from New York City. I went to school in the Towson, Maryland area, so I'm familiar with that corridor. Why Tampa Bay?
So first of all, I love Tampa. I always describe Tampa as having small town comforts, but the big city amenities and resources. We moved our headquarters down here in 2008 when we started franchising. We wanted to have a call center that would book the appointments for the franchisees. The DC area was just really expensive, cost of living, cost of labor. There was no call centers to draw talent from. Tampa was, a welcoming, quality of life, good cost of living at the time. Had some other call centers we could draw talent from. We actually hired the call center director from Pods, which has their headquarters over in Pinellas. And it's just been it's a very accessible city, because the business leaders, the community leaders, they're all very accessible, they're all very welcoming, and they're all very helpful. And so that's been really helpful for us as entrepreneurs, especially when we first got here. We were small startup essentially, to be able to leverage and have that access to some of the community dignitaries and business leaders and events that were taking place, and to have them cheer us on and be excited to have us in their city and kind of see us grow in their city. And so I love Tampa. It's exciting to see what's happening here, with all the developments, and see all the different people moving down to Tampa and businesses, and so it's been really fun to be a part of. It seems like Tampa's this big wave, and it's going to just continue to grow.
Well, you've been part of that excitement in the Tampa Bay area and making all this happen with a great environment for employees to work in and grow, and adding to the excitement of Tampa. Hey, don't go anywhere, because the Business Zone TV show will be right back, right after this quick commercial break. In the Zone TV has the experience to handle your project from concept to completion and deliver compelling video communication that grabs audience's attention.
Together, we can create a visual message that can dramatically improve your bottom line.
In the Zone TV, video production with marketing power. Welcome back to the Business Zone TV show, which is sponsored by In the Zone TV. When you need video production with marketing power, be sure to check out their website at inthezonetv.com and by hjohnmejia.com. If you're looking to take your business to the next level with cutting-edge media, marketing, and sales strategies, be sure to check out hjohnmejia.com. That's hjohnmejia.com. All right, we're in the red zone now. We're getting home stretch here and wrapping things up. What would Nick today, if you had a chance to meet yourself back when you sat down back in 2005, what would Nick today tell the younger Nick on that journey that he's about to have? What advice, suggestions, and help would you give him back then? So
the biggest wisdom and advice that I could give myself 12 plus years ago is have patience. Have patience, because so many times I would make rush decisions or impulse decisions trying to shortcut the success of the business, and ultimately those decisions backfired or were costly or expensive or set us back even further than had we just sort of stayed the course, kept our head down and stayed persistent and disciplined and dedicated to the path that we were on. And so that's really the advice I would give myself, because business is a journey. No overnight success is going to happen overnight. We're at a point of success where I can celebrate and reflect and be proud of and be grateful and humbled. But back then, I wanted the world yesterday. And so I would tell myself to just have patience. Life is a long time. The combination of time and effort is eventually going to produce results. And so don't try to shortcut success, because there are no shortcuts.
And Nick also had this valuable advice for other up-and-coming business entrepreneurs.
Persistence, patience, purpose, profits, and people. And so, those 5 Ps are really critical for anybody in business, because if you're not patient, you're going to get impatient and you're going to try to short circuit success or take shortcuts, and you're going to run yourself out of business that way. If you're not persistent or willing to persevere over the challenges that or roadblocks get laid in front of you, you're going to stumble or you're going to give up. You got to get the right people on your team to help you be successful along the way. You've got to have a purpose that drives you more than just making money, so that you stay motivated when things do get tight or when things do get tough. And then you've got to be able to manage the bottom line, because if you don't have a clear understanding about the money that's coming in or being put out there, you can passionately run yourself out of business, unfortunately, and that happens to so many motivated entrepreneurs. So you got to be able to manage the cash flow as well.
And who would you say today is some of the mentors that you listen to, and obviously to keep that fire going, who's feeding you with insight and information? Who do you turn to these days?
So these days, one of the groups that I turn to is a group I joined about 2 years ago here in Tampa called the Young Presidents Organization, YPO.
You were in Cuba.
Yes.
I saw that.
Yes,
yeah.
And I got to attend a retreat in Cuba with my YPO forum. What an inspirational group of business leaders in the community that have grown businesses far greater than mine, or have joined businesses far larger, and to see them have just a very balanced perspective on family life and business has really helped keep me humbled and grounded and motivated to keep building and growing as well. So that's been a great resource. I've also been able to connect with some great mentors both in the franchise community, like Shelly Sun. She's the founder of Bright Star Care, which has over 300 franchises in the home healthcare space. She's given me a lot of great wisdom and insights and guidance on how to continue to move our company forward. So those are the types of things that I look to and reach out to. I read a lot of books. I listen to Tony Robbins talks for motivation. I read books on business management and leadership that have been very influential for me and helped keep me moving forward. The most recent book I read was a book called Tool of Titans by Tim Ferriss. He's the author of the 4-Hour Work Week. And he interviews a lot of.
He's got a great show. I watch his
great
show.
businesses and podcasts and things of that nature. So he kind of sums it all up in a book, and that's been very influential for me to kind of see some of the other thought leaders and business gurus and business executives out there that have done it or have gone further than we have to kind of set the course on how to do it.
That's awesome. You keep feeding that spirit and that hunger and passion for the future. Reflecting back, last questions.
Yes.
Let's bring it in now. Reflecting back, this journey, this great life journey you've had, what do you value most? What are you most proud of as you look back, if today was the last day?
For me, the stuff that gives me the biggest goosebumps in our organization and in my life is when I see the impact that we've been able to have on the folks that have come into contact with the organization. The business is so much greater than myself and my business partner at this point. The people that have helped to make it what it is, that have created it into what it is, but also the people that it affects. So the customers that are dealing with a death or a divorce or a downsize situation, and to see how stressed they are, and we're able to relieve the stress from them in the process. The employees who tell us they learn more working here than they did in any class or any other job, or that they enjoy this job more than any other company they've ever worked for. To hear people say that and to see how that affects their lives is just a very, I would say, humbling and awe-inspiring experience to see the franchise owners that chose this as their professional career path, their business opportunity that they're going to dedicate their life savings to and their blood, sweat, and tears to try to be successful. That's the stuff that tells me it was all worth it. It was has nothing to do with the money, because that's just kind of a byproduct of doing the right things in business, and so that's the stuff that really gets me out of bed in the morning, and that I would say I'm most passionate about.
Wow. Well, I just want to thank you, man. You've been an inspiration. It's great to be in this organization, to see the evolution over the years. I can't wait to sit down with you 5 or 10 years from now. Who knows what that's going to look like in the future? But thanks a lot, and thanks for inviting us into your business.
Yeah, well, it's a pleasure. You actually got to come in 5 months from now and come see our new building when we get over there. But yes, 5 years from now, hopefully we'll be a lot further along, and we'll have some more inspiration and ideas to share. And I appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks, Nick, man.
Thank
It's
you.
been awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, thanks so much for watching this episode of Business Zone TV. Hope you were inspired and learned something. Check us out at businesszonetvshow.com and check me out at hjohnmejia.com. On behalf of the entire Business Zone TV crew, I'm H John Mejia, and we look forward to seeing you on our next show.